All right, so direct measurement lab. What we're going to do is make some measurements directly using instruments here, and you'll have this worksheet that you can get to off the classroom as well. So first we have to find the mass of the penny, the wood block, a small stone, and a metal cylinder. To do that, we're going to use an electronic balance. So we have some electronic balances here. They all work pretty much the same way. You can change the mode or turn it off with the button on the left, and the button on the right is to zero it or turn it on. It's already on, so we don't have to worry about that. It already says 0.0, so we don't have to do anything there either. So first we need a penny. So let's see, over here we have a penny at this station. They all work basically the same. We set the penny on. We record the answer to the nearest smallest calibrated unit in the space provided. Notice where the decimal is. It reads to the tenths of a gram. So your smallest calibrated unit would be 0.1, and your answer would be 2.5 with the grams on there. Next, we have to find the wood block, the mass of the wood block. So here we go. Here's our wooden block, just a piece of oak. We'll set that on there. 54.1 grams, same smallest calibrated unit, so make sure you fill that in. Do include units, these are all grams if you're finding mass. Next, a small stone. Here's one with a small stone. Set it on. Record your value for the mass of the small stone and write down your smallest calibrated unit. Finally, the metal cylinder. Take our metal cylinder, set it on there, and you can see it as well as I, so go ahead and write that down. Next, we need to do some volume measurements. Now, before you do that, you are going to want to do the metric conversions over here for your answers, but that's something you can do. I don't need to explain. Use your KHD, DCM, kilo, hecta, deca, deci, centi, milli from the notes to do your metric conversions. Volume measurement, we are going to be doing that by way of graduated cylinders. So over here we have our graduated cylinders. We have our 1,000 milliliter one, our 100 milliliter one, getting smaller at 50 milliliters, and the tiny one is 10 milliliters. So we have to do our smallest calibrated unit, and we have to have a reading. So when we get down and look at these at eye level, hopefully it'll focus, it does. So looking at our cylinder, you have to figure out what it's reading by first. So is it reading by ones, twos, tens, 0.5s? You got to figure that out. We have 9, we have 10, there's 10 marks in between. So each 1 milliliter is divided into 10 pieces, or 1/10. So that's your smallest calibrated unit for the 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. Now when we read these, we read them to the bottom of the meniscus. So I think you can see the darkest spot there. So you're going to try and make the reading as near as you can to the bottom of the meniscus. Record that. Moving over to our 50 milliliter graduated cylinder. Same deal. We have to find our smallest calibrated unit. What's it counting by? Sorry for the shaky handheld video here. We have 40, we have 50. So it goes up 10, and it's divided into 10 spaces. So each one is worth how much? That'll be your smallest calibrated unit. And then once again, we read the bottom of the meniscus. There isn't much of a meniscus here. We got to get it level. So go to the nearest milliliter, whichever one you think it's nearest to, record that value, and then we'll move on to the 100 milliliter. Focus, buddy. There we are. So 100 milliliter, we have 90, we have 100, takes 10 steps to do it. So you record your smallest calibrated unit, what we're counting by for each little mark. Then we make our reading. Read to the bottom of the meniscus, whatever value you think is the closest, as I try to hold it still, but I'm failing at it. Okay. And finally, the big one, the 1,000 milliliter. Now this one is different than the last two. We go up 100 milliliters, and that 100 milliliters is divided into 10 steps. So I think you should be able to figure out what each step is worth and record that. And we come down and we make our reading here. Oh, a little better. Okay. Bottom of the meniscus, what's the value? To the nearest 10 this time. Hopefully that's what you found for the smallest calibrated unit. All right. You are going to have to do metric conversions on those as well. So you can go ahead and do those. The final thing you have to do is measuring some lengths. So we're going to have our wooden block again. We're going to use a metric ruler. I think that one's pretty easy to read. Now metric rulers all work the same way. We're reading the centimeter side. The numbers are centimeters. Don't listen to that. The little marks are millimeters, but the numbers are centimeters. And we just have to measure a direction on here. Really doesn't matter which one. I know how big they are. So I will line it up with the edge as best I can. And you will make your reading and record that. So what is the reading? And you're going to the nearest 1/10 of a centimeter. The other things we have to measure are the page height, the page width, and the top line. Well, page height, should be able to do that. I line my ruler up even with the edge. And what are you going to have for a reading on that one? Page width. Make your measurement for page width. And the top line I'm referring to is the top line where it says, underneath where it says direct measurement. Easier said than done. All right, and record your value for the top line length. Now there are some questions on the back. I don't think you need my help with those, so I will leave you to it, and you can submit this to me via the Google Classroom submit button.